Hi, I'm going to talk about the secret weapon for marketers in a world of AI. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Rose Gia. I lead growth marketing for one of Amazon's priorities in grocery, which includes brands like Amazon Fresh. This means my team and I are responsible for driving top line growth at scale across the customer journey, whether that's in store or online. And not surprisingly, we have to think about new tools and new realities like that of the AI of the world. And for those of you who do know me and have heard me speak, then you know I've been driving growth my whole career. And as part of that, I had to learn about new tools and new realities in this world. So when I first started as an investment banker and then went into corporate finance, a lot of the tools that I learned were around investments. And then later, when I found my calling in marketing, it was around digital and the digital of revolution, but there was also about brand. So there was a lot of different things. And that's the lens I bring with me when I'm thinking about the secret weapon for marketers as we are embarking in a new world of generative AI and more. So let me set the scene. Before ChatGPT, the only people who talked about generative AI and large learning models were those in the field. The rest of us, including marketers, didn't really know what was going on nor cared. But then on November 30th, 2022, ChatGPT came onto the scene like a wreck. It came, it broke things, and we were thrown into this new world in which generative AI and large learning models have now become our vernacular. Within 5 days of its launch, ChatGPT reached 1 million users. Now that might not sound that crazy. Like there's been lots of platforms in the past that have grown tremendously fast to 1 million users. But trust me, it hasn't been at this rate. Looking at the slide here, you'll see other platforms that grew very quickly versus their peer sets. You'll see here, Netflix took 3.5 years to get to 1 million users. Airbnb took 2.5 years to get to 1 million users, mostly nightly bookings. Facebook took 10 months, Spotify took 5 months, and Instagram took 3 months. But ChatGPT, it took 5 days to reach 1 million users. 5 days. It came like a rocket. Exploded, right? And suddenly everyone was talking about AI. When looking at worldwide search interest before December 1st, 2022, no one was searching for the term ChatGPT, seen in that white line. People still search for AI though, seen in that black line. But look at that hockey stick growth in the subsequent months. Now compare that to searches for Taylor Swift, seen in that pink line, which saw growth, but not at the rate of ChatGPT and AI. With the increase in conversations around AI is also an increase in anxiety and fear. With any new technology, our first instinct is to think, oh my God, my job could be replaced. And it wasn't very hopeful to see so many news articles about just that fear. In this July 2023 article written by CNN, multiple tech companies cited AI as reasons for laying off specialized workers or pausing on hiring. IBM CEO Arvind Krishna said in an interview that he anticipated pausing a lot of hirings that could be replaced by AI in the future. Dropbox said that they would reduce 16% of their workforce due to AI, and an outplacement firm called Challenger, Gray and Christmas said 3,900 people were laid off due to AI in just May of 2023. But this isn't new. Technology coming in and displacing jobs is not new. What's important to note is with every new technology and every displaced job, new jobs were created. Let's think back to the days of widespread radio. When radio came onto the scene in the 1920s and then later became really popular in the 1930s, it displaced jobs. Because before radio, everybody was into live entertainment, so live theater, live music. And when radio came, a lot of those folks lost their jobs. But radio brought new jobs, things like radio hosts, sound engineers, script writers for radio dramas, and of course, advertising, radio commercials. Then in the 1950s, TV became widespread and it displaced radio jobs. But TV brought alongside new jobs like TV anchors, camera crew. You've got script writers for TV dramas, and of course, let's not forget TV commercials. So when we're thinking about the advent of generative AI and other new technologies, of course, it is going to displace some jobs, especially things that are repetitive in nature, that are simple enough that a machine can do it faster and continuously. But with it will also be new jobs. We might not know all the new jobs it's going to create, but we're going to know some of it. So for example, we're going to need people to train the AI models. We're also going to need people to train people to learn how to use AI tools. We'll need people to think about the ethics behind leveraging AI. And of course, the most easy one to think about is prompt engineering. This one is real. This is a real job that is happening right now. If you look at the worldwide search interest before ChatGPT came onto the scene, like a rat, nobody searched for prompt engineering. But after that, people were searching because suddenly people realized, oh my gosh, if ChatGPT is a new tool that everyone's going to have to use, then someone's going to have to learn how to prompt the likes of ChatGPT, the likes of Dolly, and Midjourney and whatnot to create better outcomes. And so prompt engineering became a new job. And as you can see in the salaries, the range of salaries shows you it is quite a lucrative job. So change is inevitable, and fearing change, avoiding change is not going to help any of us. It's not going to keep us from losing our jobs. So what's important is being adaptable, is being able to understand that this wave of technology is going to happen with or without us. And instead of us being scared, we should embrace it, but embrace it in a way that shows how we are indispensable. Marketers are not going to be the only people that are impacted by new technologies. Others that have similar, simple, basic capabilities will also be impacted. Think of accounting, think of video editing, think of simple financial modeling, forecasting, data analysis. A lot of these jobs will also be replaced, but in its stead will be new jobs and new ways. So how do you, a marketer, ensure that you are still indispensable in this new wave of technology? Well, the answer is to adopt the Renaissance marketer mindset. The mindset is a new framework to help marketers think differently. Thinking differently is going to be how you stand out amongst the pack and how you are going to ensure that you are indispensable. It's comprised of 3 pillars, and I'll talk a little bit about how the 3 pillars work, and then I will follow up with how this is relevant to you and AI. The first pillar is being multidisciplined. This means pulling ideas from different academic disciplines like history, psychology, economics into marketing to help you think about the different aspects of marketing. But it also means understanding the different functions that goes into making a business or organization successful. Because let's be honest, you can't do marketing and influence a customer's decision without the help of all of these other functions. And so by being multidisciplined, you're also able to step into the shoes of other marketers. Quick aside, later on, I will talk about some of the tools and hacks that I have built to help you influence these various stakeholders. But for now, it's about being multidisciplined. And stakeholders we're talking about are everybody from your finance team who needs to ensure that they're checking off how you're investing, but it's also the data team that supports you, the creative teams that needs to build all of your assets, right? All of these different stakeholders. The second pillar is to think long-term with investment in mind. This means treating marketing holistically as an investment. So when I say marketing, I don't just mean advertising dollars. I mean the whole suite of marketing, from the people that you have to hire to build your team, whether it's contractors, full-time, agencies, whatever it may be, to the platforms that you're gonna need, right? You're gonna have to build marketing mix models. You're gonna have to build and fund AI tools to help you. All of these things are part of marketing, and you have to think about it as an investment. Where do you invest your time, energy, resources, and dollars? And what is that return? And with that return, you're gonna have to think about short-term and long-term. The third and last pillar of the Renaissance marketer mindset is to balance the art and science of marketing. The art is all about creativity, it's about user and customer experiences, it's about the emotions. And then the science part is about data, measurement, right? Economics, because all of these pieces are important for you to understand, is what you're doing working? Is that investment paying off in the short or long term? Now, why is the Renaissance marketer mindset important, and how does this relate back to an AI world? It's because the Renaissance marketer mindset helps you innovate. Innovation makes you indispensable. And when I talk about innovation, I'm not talking about something net new like that wheel or even that car. I'm talking about bringing together disparate pieces of information and then reshaping it differently so that it becomes a new way of thinking, like Uber and sharing of cars, like Airbnb and sharing of housing. With the Renaissance marketer mindset, you will be able to connect different dots by being multidisciplined, think about investing long-term and short-term, have payback, and still be able to balance the art and science of marketing. That makes you be able to create new things that have payback and drive growth, which is so important for a business or an organization as they're thinking about automation and AI. And having the Renaissance marketer mindset allows you to see this wave of AI as not a job displacement, but as an opportunity to expand and extend your capabilities. And what I mean by this is the 3 pillars help you become indispensable. Let me talk about the first pillar, being multidisciplined, right? We talked about being multidisciplined as pulling ideas from different things. Well, one of the things, the academic fields that we want to pull from is psychology, because we realize humans behave very interestingly. We are not rational beings. We are quite emotional, and a lot of our decision-making happens from our own past experiences. Now, AI tends to be as unbiased as it can be. It wants to make decisions rationally, but people aren't. And until people stop making decisions on what to buy, what to use, we will want people and marketers to understand how our past experiences shape how we perceive and how we make decisions. Now, there's a really good example here that I want to share. So recently I went to a talk and I heard David McRaney speak on stage about some of the data that he's been collecting. So he's been working with different cognitive and neuroscientists on how people make decisions. And one of them was on the most controversial, internet breaking, viral thing. If you remember, it was this, the dress. Yes, that's right. In 2015, this dress broke the internet because nobody can agree on whether the dress was white and gold or black and blue. And people were adamant that they were right. And they could not understand how the other side saw the colors differently. Well, this was really interesting for a neuroscientist named Pascal Wallach. He ended up researching for 2 years, basically studying 10,000 different people to figure out why were people seeing different colors and so adamant about it. And what he found was color is a perception that we have based on the light source, right? And light comes in essentially different wavelengths in which we call them red, blue, and green. Now, the reality is the colors that we see is just a difference in all of these different wavelengths and the combination of wavelengths. And what he found was those that tended to spend a lot more time in artificial light, which tended to be yellow, saw the dress as black and blue. And the reason was the brain saw the photo and just assumed it was oversaturated, and normally this photo would be in a artificial lighting. And so the brain basically corrected the color that they saw and said, what I'm now seeing is really, it should be blue and black, because if there was yellow lighting, then this would have been blue and black. Now, what he found was, on the other hand, those who saw white and gold was because they spent a lot of time in natural light. So spent a lot of time outdoors or by the window. And in natural light, a lot of that light is blue light. And therefore, what people saw was white and gold, because what they also determined in the image was that that was normal coloring. What happened was the brain corrected what they saw as color based on what the brain perceived to be the most accurate reality based on past experiences. So Pascal said, when the truth is uncertain, our brains resolve that uncertainty without our knowledge by creating the most likely reality they can imagine based on our prior experiences. So this brings me back to the Renaissance marketer mindset. The Renaissance marketer mindset allows you to realize that humans make decisions based on prior experiences. And like I said, pillar number one, being multidisciplined, having that psychology is going to help you think through a lot of this stuff. But most importantly, being multidisciplined means you can connect different dots. And when you connect different dots, when you attach to it your own human lived experiences and recognize that other humans have their own lived experiences, you will be able to create human-centric experiences that AI cannot make. And while AI can take away specialized roles, this aspect they can't recreate. And with pillars number 2 and 3, right, like thinking long-term with investment in mind or balancing the art and science, AI can totally help you there. It can do the measurement, the data crunching, the number crunching, the forecasting, the predictive analytics, and that will help open you up to being more creative, to understanding more of that humanness, to creating those experiences that bring humans closer together. And that will make you as a marketer indispensable. Because while others can just be doers and they just do, and could be replaced by AI who can also do, and do, you're going to be creating. And that is what makes you so special. And that's what's going to help you adapt to any new technology shifts, including that of generative AI. So, What this means is as companies are building more AI models and marketers are going to have to learn these AI tools, there are a couple of things that you can look forward to that AI is going to bring, right? Think of this as personalization at scale. AI is going to be able to help you essentially have one-on-one communications with your customers in which you can understand their incentives, their triggers, their needs and wants, and create trigger-based communications, ways in which it will automatically connect to the customer and help share and create that human experience, but through a scalable way. Same with optimizations. Instead of saying only 50% of the population will see A versus B, you can now have thousands of experiments happening in the blink of an eye. And then, of course, predictive analytics, right? All of these human behaviors, all of these things, all of these numbers that you can crunch can help you understand what might be the next decision point that a customer might make. That is all to say, though, you still will want to have a human-centric view of how all this comes together. Just because an AI can build out this one-on-one personalization doesn't mean that you are not going to be part of creating what makes a good experience, what makes this one-on-one experience unique and special, because that's what your customers are looking for. And let me hammer one other thing. When I talk about the Renaissance marketer mindset and I talk about, pillar number one, being multidisciplined, grab different academic and pull it together, pull it into marketing. Well, one of them is history. And let me just tell you, as a history major myself, history repeats itself. So what is old is new again. And we're already seeing this happen just in the last couple of years. Remember when brick and mortar stores were overtaken by e-commerce and we thought e-commerce was going to be the next thing? Well, guess what? E-commerce is also building brick and mortar stores. And what about cable bundles? We thought cable bundles were going to be killed, which probably is already killed by all these streaming platforms. But guess what streaming platforms are doing? They are adding in new bundles of things like live sports and you could do this and that and you can see advertising. And there's so many of them that bundling them all together, consolidating, feels eerily like a cable bundle. And of course, as I mentioned before, live events, radio and TV and online had all kind of taken away this idea of live. Everything could be done in the metaverse. We're all going to be online now. But the next generation is telling us that they want a personal experience. They want in person. So live music, live theater, live events is back. All of this is to say, history repeats itself, which means that you as a marketer has to adapt to changing times. And by having the Renaissance marketer mindset that basically helps you and drives you to be adaptable, right? Like to have to think in all different sorts of ways, but still be able to kind of shift and pull what's going to be investment worthy and balance different things, it helps you stay in a mindset in which you can continue to grow and continue to add value. And that, again, makes you indispensable. This was just a small taste of everything that's available at renaissancemarketer.com. There you'll find tons of other things like tips and tricks on how to tap into that mindset. There's also case studies and research, as well as ways in which you can think about new technologies and how do you use them. But let me just end and leave you with this last thing. No matter if you are a startup, a small business, or a large corporation, no matter if your business is in the couple of users to millions of users to hundreds of millions of users, and whether your marketing arm is small or big, there's one thing that is very important, is that you can't do all this by yourself. You need to have the different parts of your business and organization work together. And as a marketer, you are in the hub, you're in the central point. but you need to influence other stakeholders that are across the company and across the organization to get them to buy into your vision. I actually just published book 1 of a series that I call Cheat Sheets. But the reality is they're tips and tools to help you influence these stakeholders. The first one's on finance, because let's be honest, it's so important to get finance to buy into what we want. And we want them to say yes and. And this is because without the support of finance, you won't get the dollars that you need to drive advertising, to build a team, to buy and utilize and build a platform. So it's so important to get them to say yes and. So this book is written from the lens of a marketer. So it talks about how finance thinks about marketing, what is finance's role, so you as a marketer can understand that. But more importantly is, how do you speak the language of finance in a way that talks about your marketing impact so that finance can say yes and. And like I said, this is just one of a series. Coming next will be how do you influence product and engineering, data and analytics, legal compliance, and more. So hopefully this is helpful. And if there's anything else that you guys are interested in learning more about, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're trying to build more resources to really ensure at the end of the day, marketers being indispensable for the business, for the organization, regardless if technologies are changing. Thank you for listening.